Hello again. It's like an hour later, but you're seeing this a day after. And then tomorrow you'll probably see the summon. Just a lot of Choose Your Legend stuff happening this week. Trailer's out. We're gonna take a look at that. Get a complete list of kit. I think the Fade channel went over pretty much anything that was new. Which, I had some opinions about character appearances. Hey, at least all the art is nice, right? At least all the art's great, even though the young Tiki bias is very strong. At least all the art's great, so that's cool. It's very well done art. Yeah, I'll be honest, I don't remember anything from the kits, and that was just like an hour ago. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing everything laid out, so I can kind of get my brain pan turning a bit, and then we can see what's happening here. You know what I mean? So let's go ahead and take a look and watch this humdinger of a trailer officially. All right, hit me with it.
Could this be where the flow of
Banger.
time has gone
Absolute banger
next on my
song.
journey?
All right, so Byleth is a flyer, colorless tone. She has speed, res, hold, great. She has attack, speed, catch, which I think I guessed at in the Fate channel. Speed, preempt, which inflicts speed -4 on foe during combat. If foe initiates combat and uses a bow, dagger, magic, or staff, and unit speed is greater than foe's speed, unit can counterattack before foe's first attack, which is pretty nuts. Divine Pulse boosts damage by 25% of unit speed, reduces damage from foe's next attack by 75%, and unit's next attack deals damage equal to 20% of unit's speed. Resets at the end of combat. Poggers. Inner Wellspring. It accelerates special trigger cooldown count -1 at the start of turn. If unit is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants null follow-up to unit for 1 turn, and also, if special cooldown count is at its max, grants special cooldown count -1. If unit initiates combat or is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants attack speed, defense, res +5 to unit during combat, and if special triggers before or during combat, grants special cooldown count -1 after combat. So basically, 2 turn specials are very good for her. That's what all that means. And some other stuff too. So Divine Pulse, obviously great for her. This is what I would consider to be a fairly straightforward kit, where she is primarily offensive, right? And everything is very speed-centric. So you probably want a speed boon if you can nab it. The downside of that is that the speed stat, in particular, is one of the most power crept stats in all of Fae. So usually speed is the thing that's taken like the biggest hit 9 times out of 10. So will it age well? I hope so. But unfortunately, with the speed comparisons, she is kind of up against a big roster of competitors for speed checks. So there's that. But hey, Phantom Speed Seal exists, right? So that's something. But I think by Seliph, that's a bad thing. Sothis Byleth is pretty dope looking. I think the kit is pretty straightforward, which is kind of nice sometimes. And she's a colorless tone flyer, which is great. B skill for a flyer. I don't think I have to tell you. I don't think I have to tell you about flyers and B skills, but it's nice that she got something really good for her B skill, so that you don't have to worry about the inheritance, because she comes pretty much perfect as is, which you would expect from a brave unit, which is really nice.
With the goddess.
Dude, that's nuts. That's such a nutty combo. The cooldowns with preempt, that's so nutty, man. Seliph looks great.
Dressed as my father?
WADA art
Nothing
is
could honor me more.
legitimately divinity tier. Alright, so as I mentioned in the Faye channel, they made Seliph, but he's Sigurd, but he's actually Seliph, and he's actually good. That's what they did here. They did give him speed, defense, lull skills in 2022. I know, cringe. But he has Canto built into his weapon, so he doesn't really need it in his passive, which is kind of nice. So, you know, there's that. Maybe a better B skill comes along for Cabs in the future. He gets to use that. Still has Canto. Bada bing, bada boom. Everything's great. He comes with Luna, low speed defense, air to light, which is his unique skill there. At start of turn, if unit is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants attack speed +6 and null follow-up to unit for 1 turn, and you can move 1 extra space. So we're in drive range here. Attack speed clash 4. If unit or foe initiates combat after moving to a different space, grants bonus to units attack speed during combat equals to X +6, where X equals the number of spaces moved by whoever initiated combat. Max of 4. If X is greater than or equal to 2, neutralizes units' penalties to attack speed during combat. So this is kind of like a direct call out to Legendary Sigurd in a sense, because of his special and allowing other units to move more spaces after he attacks. That whole shtick. So this is really nice. It feels kind of like a callback to that, because even now, Legendary Sigurd is kind of bonkers. Brave Seliph also has Holy Tide Tirfing, which we talked about Canto 2 already. He's got Slayer. If unit or foe initiates combat after moving to a different space, grants attack speed, defense rest +5 to unit during combat and deals damage equal to number of spaces moved by whoever initiated combat, max of 4, times number or 10% of foe's defense, except when dealing damage with AoE specials. And also, if unit's HP is greater than 25% of the start of combat, unit's HP is greater than 1, and the foe would reduce the unit's HP to 0. Unit survives with 1 HP. Pretty nuts. It happens once per combat, doesn't stack, yada yada. So overall, Seliph is really good, and I feel like he will probably age pretty well in general. Lull speed defense 3 feels a little bit dated, but again, he doesn't really need anything super special in that B spot, because his weapon does everything that a B passive for, you know, a Trace skill, for example, would do. So maybe we upgrade that at some point, but overall, you know, pretty solid. Luna, fine. It's a fine special. Give him something better if you want. You know what I mean? You do you. You do you. But overall, very strong unit. Something that you can probably say about pretty much any Brave hero. Just think about the refines in 3 years, am I right?
Ever since
Oh,
I've come
man.
to Asker, I've met rather a lot of people.
I have to say the art is very well done. It's very well done. I don't know if I upset a bunch of people with my comments about how they made Awakening Tiki young Tiki. Because that video hasn't gone live yet, I don't think. At least as of my recording right now. But you know, like I say, we can't choose what happens. We just vote and hope for the best. And here we got an infantry green Tiki, which was, I think, the only dragon form Tiki version that was missing. Right? Because we have a blue legendary, colorless fallen, red young and old Tiki, and now we have green. And I feel like I'm missing one in there, but I also don't think I'm missing one in there. So this is great. I mean, we also had Summer Tiki, but she's not a dragon. So to be clear, Anywho, she's an axe unit. Young Awakening Tiki. Let's go.
So many of them are dear to me now.
I'm sorry, her sprite straight up looks like young Tiki. It looks like young Tiki. Oh boy. All right. There's a lot to read here. Glimmer. Two turn special. Pretty solid. For what her kit is, which we'll read in a second. She comes with attack res finish, which is nice. If unit is within 3 spaces of an ally, grants attack res +7 to unit during combat, and also if unit special is ready, or unit special triggered before or during combat, deals +5 damage to you during combat, except when dealing damage with AoE specials. And when unit deals damage to foe during combat, restores 7 HP, even if damage is 0. So don't run AoEs, basically. Don't run AoEs unless you're going to replace attack res finish, maybe. But overall, the condition is nice. Within 3 spaces is pretty easy to pull off for the most part. New Divinity, which is her preferred B. At start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, inflicts attack res -5 on foe during combat. And also, if unit's res is greater than foe's res, reduces damage from attacks during combat and from AoE specials by percentage equal to the difference between stats, max of 40%. At start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 40%, foe cannot make a follow-up attack during combat. So I'm assuming she's not very fast. We do have some damage reduction based on res, so it feels very Dragon Wall-y. Defense res menace, I feel like, makes sense, especially because you have attack res finish up there. So defense res menace is basically going to allow her to be tankier rather than do more damage, because really you want her to stay at a higher HP threshold for New Divinity to really like do its thing. So she's not going to get doubled. And so I think that's the reason for defense res menace for the most part. And then you have a more offensive skill for her A, instead of having something like attack res menace, for example. Remote breath. Slaying effect. Dragon effectiveness. Effective against dragon foes. If units within 3 spaces of an ally, so again that same spacing conditional, grants +5 to all stats to unit during combat. Unit makes a guaranteed follow-up attack, and also if unit can attack, or if unit's attack can trigger their special, grants special cooldown -1 to unit before unit's first attack during combat. And if foe's attack can trigger their special and unit's res is greater than or equal to foe's res +5, inflicts special cooldown count +1 on foe before foe's first attack during combat. Cannot exceed the maximum. And we get adaptive damage if range is 2. So, again, res is kind of important here. She's meant to be, I think, maybe a little more enemy phase, perhaps. But overall, just very solid, very tanky. Certainly, maybe not enemy phase, but certainly defensive. And that's where her true strength comes from. I think the kit is kind of nuts, honestly. But I think it's still relatively balanced. Is balanced the word that I want to use? I'm not sure. But it doesn't feel insane. And all of the kits that we've seen so far don't feel like insane, right? They feel good, but they're not like mind-blowing. Okay? That's more or less what I'm going to get across here. But overall, I'm relatively pleased with Tiki's kit. I know she's not going to be fast, but that's okay, I guess. I guess that's fine. There are some conditionals in here for her to get follow-ups and deny enemy follow-ups, so that's nice. She doesn't have to be fast. Because when you get old, you're slow. That's what IS is telling us. Love that. Love that for us.
Do not trouble me.
Don't do it. Do not trouble Tiki. She was not having it. Speaking of kits that aren't broken,
for the good of the people.
This one kind of is.
Who or where they are.
Remember how it's like everybody feels really balanced so far. Yep. Great. Welcome to not that. Gyrdful. Fate changed. Surge Sparrow, SD Near Trace, and Infantry Speed Tactic. Now you might be looking at those A, B, and C passives and thinking, huh, well, that doesn't seem that crazy. Surge Sparrow, we know about this. Brave Erica debuted it. SD Near Trace, again, Canto. Gives him Canto, gives him a bit of a lull effect. Infantry Speed Tactic grants speed +6 to all allies within 2 spaces for 1 turn and null follow-up to infantry allies within 2 spaces at start of turn. Granted only if number of allies movements on the current team is less than or equal to 2. So infantry, obviously. Gyrdful, which is not how you say that. Accelerated special trigger, effective against armored foes. Longtime viewers of the channel know I am a fan of anti-armor stuff. Seems pretty great to me so far. If unit initiates combat or is within 2 spaces of an ally, it's going to grant attack speed, defense rest +X to unit during combat, where X equals the number of bonus and penalty effects active on unit times 2 + 5. Excludes stat bonuses and stat penalties. Reduces damage from foes' first attack during combat by 40%, and also, if bonus is active on unit, grants special cooldown charge +1 per attack during combat. So, more or less, he gets a little bit of damage reduction, right? Which is great. Bonus and penalties only make him stronger. And he gets charges if bonus is on him. So that's great. That's great. That's a very strong weapon. That's a very strong weapon. A fate changed is interesting. Moves target ally to opposite side of unit and grants another action to unit. Normal. Grants any bonus active on target ally to unit and pair up cohort, if any, for 1 turn, and inflicts isolation on unit and pair up cohort, if any, through their next action. So when they say bonus, okay, he gets bonus. He takes bonuses. He was like, nah, fam, this was yours. It's mine now. So, think a little outside the box here. You know? Dominance, maybe? Pathfinder, probably. You know, everybody thinks, oh, stat bonus, sure. But what about other different kinds of bonuses? Interesting. I think. I'm not actually sure. I watched this again through the Fate channel. I was like, huh, that seems a little nutty. That seems a little nutty. And this is ever adaptive, right? So when they introduce new bonus effects, pending the the caveat, right? Granted, bonuses exclude stat bonuses inverted by panic, stuff like that. He still gets them, so it's kind of nice, right? That's kind of nice. It feels like Chrom will be good for a long time. And his kit isn't so crazy for passives that you won't necessarily be able to update him in the future anyway, right? A, B, and C passives are always getting stacked and crept. To have a good assist in a weapon like that, that's pretty solid. That's pretty solid. So I think overall, I said this a bit hastily in the Faye channel reaction, because frankly, after I saw Awakening Tiki, I stopped listening to pretty much everything, and I was just in my head. Chrom feels like the best possible pick. If you don't care and you're just on the fence, this feels like the most useful freebie you can pick up. Even though I'm Tiki Gang, it feels like the most useful thing you're going to be able to pick up for a long-term benefit. Okay? And I say that because eventually he will also get refines, which will make him even more ridiculous. So he has an assist skill that's going to continuously be updated, basically, through new bonus effects that get added to the game. And a weapon that will eventually get refined in 3 years and make it even more insane than it already is. And everything that his weapon gives you already is just good, useful stuff. It's not really like weird conditionals or anything that you're ever going to be like, I don't really need that. It's just all good things. So they definitely did right by Chrom, even though they basically made him outfitted like Brave Lucina. Which is a little bit funny. But Brave Lucina is also still like used pretty frequently currently as like a soaker upper for stat debuffs and stuff like that. So yeah, I feel like Chrom probably won the whole kit and caboodle, if you will. So happy for Chrom fans out there. Pretty pleased. His outfit does look very similar to Night Chrom, though. But it's still a good fit, man. Also very fitting that it's taking place with, like, the Asker chapter. Just saying. Just throwing that out there for you. I don't know why they're fighting alongside this guy, but, like, whatever. Whatever, man. I think I more or less predicted what they were going to do with these heroes, straight down to the color and weapons. That said, overall, aesthetically, it feels like a very safe Juju Legends, which I'm not about. I'm not about that. So, it's a little, I don't even want to say disappointing because it's not. It is slightly less hype that they were safe picks. Regalia Byleth, I feel like, looks the most interesting of all of them. But it's not something that we haven't seen before, right? So even then, it's not anything that's like crazy out there. So everything did feel relatively pretty safe. The kits are all very good. I've given my piece on those already. They're all very unique, I guess, and they offer something different in every facet. So for that, I'm happy and excited. Probably would have made some different choices aesthetically. But again, that's not in my control, and I recognize that and I respect it. But overall, pretty happy with this Choose Your Legends. And they didn't show it, but we are getting a Gerald as a GHB, so that's hype. I'll be looking forward to that. We'll probably grail him like immediately, because like what else am I using grails for these days? You know what I mean? And then there was one. Again, you should probably, if you're not going to summon on this banner, you should probably just take your free Chrom and go on. but you know, I will probably be doing 160 summons total for sure, because we're going to try and get as many Brave Tikis as possible. I mentioned this in the reaction video for the Fae channel. These heroes are going to see raid up multiple times throughout the year. It's not always a guarantee, but they will frequently be on raid up. Their Forging Bonds will almost assuredly, undoubtedly, get a rerun. Okay? So this particular banner is bound to show up at least twice. No more than twice. Definitely twice. Basically twice, guaranteed. And the individual units will likely show up frequently throughout. Hero Fests are also a thing where they do Choose Your Legends banners from existing years, where they're raid up and the odds are better. Blah, blah, blah. All of these things are happening. So don't feel inclined that you have to immediately get them, because you will have multiple opportunities throughout. Okay. And there's a fair shot that one of these will also be high enough in the rankings for a Hero Rises. You know, regardless of my feelings about standard pool heroes for that. But I'm sure that will undoubtedly be a point of contention this year too. So they will show up frequently. Just be aware, especially if you're newer. I know that FOMO is a powerful thing. Okay, fear of missing out. It's a powerful thing. But don't fall prey to it. All right, just letting you know. All right, I feel like I've talked enough. Have we? Gerald? No. No. Yes? No. Oh, these things, yeah. Sure. Okay. We don't really care about those. Celestial Stones, great. You get a bunch of Celestial Stones too. Yeah, overall pretty happy with what we've seen. I would have made personally a few changes, but wouldn't we all? You know, if we were in charge, wouldn't we all make a slightly different decision somewhere in the path? It's not for us to do. We're just supposed to sit here and enjoy it, right? So that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do personally. But hey, thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Let me know anything you want. Normally I have a prompt. I don't have one this time. You just say whatever you want. Or you could do the Choose Your Legendsy thing and tell me who you think won the banner in the comments. Or potpourri, whatever you want. Whatever you want to do. Rules don't exist right now. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you for sure to like, comment, subscribe, all those things. Makes Susan happy. Makes me happy. Everybody wins. Yeah? Cool. All right. Thanks again. And until then, I will catch you next time.